Hello, it's Drake Sater of the Battle Bunnies. Quite fortunate to get one of the new Shadow War Armageddon box games. It was released today. We were there at the moment it opened, but luckily we had one reserved anyway. I think there was only 7 in our local store, but I'm sure they've all gone already. I think there's a few places around the country who've only had actually one delivered to their store, and it's been quite a few upset people around. Now, I also believe that Games Workshop has stated that they will be releasing more of these because of the unbelievable demand for it. Oh, come on, it's a Hive World thing. Of course it's going to be popular. So I'm going to just take this to pieces and I'll show you every single sprue we've got inside it. Okay, one thing I've noticed is the fact that it's actually a thicker box than usual. It's thicker than even the, what's it called, Imperial Knights Renegade box, which I currently now use for my paints. So I think after I get everything out of this will be my new paint box. I might even put another tray in the middle just to make the most of it. Anyway, that's on the side. So let's start taking out and have a look at some of these sprues. So what's this? It's one of the reactor sprues, I believe. It's got some fantastic bits of details on it. Now I'm actually planning on using this as part of my Zone Mortalis scenery. So I want to have some good objective pieces for my Battle in the Void, or Blood in the Void story missions. And I think these will probably be quite good for it. There's the usual standard orc sprue, so I won't spend too much time on that. And interestingly, the dice, even the scatter dice, are a bit smaller. I'm not sure what size they are. I think, yeah, that's a normal dice, and I think the new scatter dice are about the sort of, I think they're about the same size as the regular D6 dice now. We've also got that artillery dice back, and that's something which I'm wondering if it's going to be ported over into the new 8th edition rules, or whether it's just a standard one for this game. Ignore the black fingertip, I've actually been spray painting, as obvious. Now, more boys. Standard one, I think. Rocket launcher and all that. Little bases, nothing big. Then the usual walkway ones. Detail on it's fantastic, as we've all seen in the new White Dwarf. Now there's a lot of things you can do with these, but I'm wondering how popular they're going to be if you don't have a lot of walkways. That's one thing everyone really liked about the old Necromunda game, was lots of walkways which connected everything up. But this, currently, it doesn't seem like there's that many of the standard, walkways which will connect a unit to another unit, unless you make them yourself. From this sprue. So I think this sprue is actually going to be almost gold dust when it comes to eBay and the like. And the reason why I think that is because I think there's not going to be that many of these accessible in the sets. And considering it's like a Hive battlefield, you always expect there to be lots of walkways if you remember the old Necromunda style things. But there isn't. There's a distinct lack of them, unfortunately. Most of the images you actually do see of them, when they're assembled in the White Dwarf magazines, they'll have one of these in the centre, and it will be actually glued either at one end or the other end to one of the other component pieces, which have the silo or the chimney units. So I'm wondering if you can assemble it carefully using these pieces here as supports. So you might only have a whole length of this as one long gantry, with one of these supporting it in the middle, that overhanging one end and that overhanging the other end, so that you could easily connect it to different other structures that you've made. Otherwise, it's going to be a quite ground-based Hive battle, unfortunately. So that's why I think these things are going to be really, really popular on the internet. Anyway, here's the gantries. Now, once again, there might be a bit too much detail on them because I'm dreading painting all the little things like little valves here, and where is it? If you flip over, there's some of them which actually have steam counters. And do you know what? I'd be shocked if there was that many of those things sort of red constantly in the 41st millennium. It seems like there's so much decay and, you know, every bit of technology is, you know, in degradation. Anyway, so moving on, we've got the Scout Snipers. Standard sprue, I think. I think it is anyway. It's quite sparse. And then you've got this, which I think is the chimney unit. Now the detail on this, once again, is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it is the main reason I want it. And it is going to be so popular to see all of these on new battlefields, even existing ones. Stunning. A lovely silo as well. I didn't know you could actually assemble it with the door open, but it's nice to see the detail inside as well. Look at that. Brilliant. I bought myself quite a few of the pipeline segments recently, so I'm very much looking forward to playing with them and seeing what I can do. Seeing a big old network. And there's the other piece. I think you got two of them in this transform one. I'm mad. No, you only get one of them. And then further in, you got a nice little set which will stop you from sheet to stop you from denting the Armageddon book. And on this side you have the expand your battlefield thing, which we've seen leaked on the web recently. And once again, as I said earlier, you don't really see many of the walkways. So I think the only place you see that long walkway piece, or that gantry piece, is possibly in that set there, and that set there. So the ferrotonic incinerator and the galvanic magnet vent. Apart from that, everything seems to be walk from unit to unit. Well, not unit to unit, what are they called? Terrain piece to terrain piece. Yeah. Red templates, which are nice. I think they're the same size as the usual ones. What else we got here? Shadow War Armageddon book. I'm not going to go through it page by page, but shooting rules. Some lovely images of the battlefields you can create. And once again, big walkways, but it's going to be a struggle to get them. And as I was mentioning earlier, this piece here is just a long walkway and it's got a little strut there. But once you assemble it, it's not exactly a unit you can swap. Yeah, it's a terrain piece which you can break up again and move it around. So I was wondering if you could use those little couplings to join in sections like from this unit here to that gantry piece there. What else we got? Kill team rules. I think one thing I was really interested in was I love the new modifiers, and obviously it goes back to the second edition, but there's something in here about Terminator armor, and that's actually a 3+ save but on 2d6, and obviously when you take the modifiers into account like you did in second edition, you know, it's still really ridiculously durable, and it's still got a 5+ invulnerable save as well. There we go. Look at that, stunning. So it will be great fun to play on. Another big long walkway, another big long walkway. It doesn't seem like there's enough terrain pieces to enable you to have many long walkways. It'd be nice if you actually see them online, even on the web stores, being sold individually, or otherwise they're going to be, as I said, gold dust. Then you've got this normal usual assembly things. You've got quick access to the getting started rules, and lots and lots of counters. Once again, Overwatch is in there as well, which is great. Something which I hope will be coming back in the 8th edition. And so that wraps up my review. So hopefully we'll be using the rule sets for some 30k era games coming up. I'd like to do some scouting missions, but obviously the scouts in the box have got some, I think they're called Godwin pattern bolt guns, so we might have to try to do some conversions to get them to some sort of Phobos pattern or similar, Tigris. The terrain's great, I love it, but I think we could do with at least 3 sets of it before you've got a decent board. Tie it with a few Mechanicum buildings from the old range, which came out apparently 10 years ago, I think it was, they said in the White Dwarf. And I think you can have some lovely battlefields to fight on. You need more walkways, that's a definite, otherwise everything's just on the floor again, and we don't want that. The other thing is you do want to have things stacked up and up and up and up, you know, like the old Necromunda battlefields you used to play on. So I'd like to see more towers, but I don't know if we're going to, unfortunately, because obviously they're going to try to get you to spend as much money as possible to make these as tall as possible, but you do want it to feel like a hive and not just, you know, playing on another battlefield, which is almost like a bit of a, was it the Sky Shield landing pad style height. So it's going to be a labour of love to get you, well, it's going to be a lot of money to get a decent board using this kit. But apart from that, the game looks great, and anyone who's played Necromunda is going to enjoy this. Anyone who hasn't played Necromunda is in for a lovely treat, so anyone's going to enjoy it. It's worth getting. Go on. Alright, stay tuned.